What's up, crew? Chaz here. I'm gonna get my camera all situated. All right, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Then we will kick this thing off. I'll pull y'all up on my computer. Dun, 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 dun. I do apologize for the lighting. I've got warehouse door open, which brings in all the light on this side of my face, which is why half is always completely washed out. And then on top of that, it's hot, so I got the sweat rolling. So don't mind me. So drop a comment below. Let me know where you guys are watching from. How is your day going? Going to be covering how to build your reselling business. A few tips that have helped us out. I narrowed it down to my top 3 ways you can build your business. And it doesn't matter if you're doing eBay, Amazon, etc. It's going to be pretty universal advice across the board. Newsflash, it's not going to be anything new and groundbreaking you don't already know. I'm just going to really hit the nail on the head so you can actually start to implement, because it's not that anyone has a lack of information or knowledge in this field. It's that a lot of people just aren't being held accountable enough to do it. Big difference between having the knowledge and actually implementing the knowledge. So hopefully I can help clear some stuff up for you guys. So we got Everett in the house. P.S. Babe, we got to do our Funko planning. Everett, Washington is the HQ of Funko, and we're actually going to be taking a trip up there. We were supposed to do it like soon, but we didn't plan it. So we have to sit down and actually like put it on the schedule so we can get out there. So if anyone is in the Everett area, I know we got one person here, Vandy's Closet. Looks like we got another Washington person here. So we will be planning probably a Seattle/Everett meetup. So if you're in like that part of the Northwest, you're about 4 hours north of us. We're just south of Portland. So I think that will be a fun time. So we'll get that on the schedule for you guys. Awesome, man. Thanks for tuning in, Victor. All right, let's dive in. I'm just going to do what I do, pretty much unscripted, give you guys a few tips and pieces of advice that have helped us along the way. And if you guys have questions, I'll do a little Q&A towards the end. I'm not going to do a big, lengthy, hour-long thing here. I'm going to try to keep it fairly short and sweet. But depending on you guys, the questions, the engagement, I might go 30, 40 minutes, just depending on what we're doing here. Ooh, we got San Diego in the house. San Diego is probably one of our favorite places, only because we went in the middle of a week. We've only been there one time, but it was in the middle of the week, and we had an entire beach and pier to ourselves. There was nobody there, so we had an amazing time down there. What's up, Tony? Welcome in. You made it. Got Tacoma, Washington. Nice. So we got a few Washington people on board. So comment below if you're in the Northwest area, even if you're watching the recording, if you're in the Northwest area as far as Seattle goes, even as far down as Portland, if we host a Seattle/Everett meetup, would you guys be interested in going? How far of a radius do we source our items for resale? I've driven as far as 2 hours as far as retail arbitrage goes. Oh, that's right, Tony. You're just in Woodburn. That's right. That's right. There's like a little Woodburn auction group around here. Awesome. Sweet. So let's dive in, guys. I got 3 things for you as far as, are you going to do it from the house? Special guest appearance. She's going to go live inside the VIP group and do live eBay listings.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Yep. Have fun.
I'm too loud, so she's going to go to the house.
You're just a little loud.
We don't have doors in our office. They're all big openings.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I love you, though. Love you. I'll see you in a bit. All right, let's dive in. I can be as loud as I want now. Wifey's gone. Let's do it. It's been a good day. All right. Let's dive in. How do you build your reselling business? Okay. Number 1. These 3 things are based on the top mistakes that we've made and the top mistakes I see other people make. We run various Facebook groups. We've been in this game for coming up on almost 3 years. This November will be 3 years. So we definitely learned a thing or two, and I narrowed it down to these top 3. Number one. You need to focus, okay? And I'm gonna let some of this information sink in on some of you guys, because some of you are gonna be like, what kind of tip is focus? It's the kind of tip that you know, but you may not be implementing. All 3 of these tips are things that you know, but you may not be implementing. So comment below, who struggles with focus when it comes to your business? And there's a couple different things with this. I'll dive in a little bit deeper with that. And backtrack real quick. Anything I say throughout this little live stream, these little tips I'm giving you guys, it's never about taking everything I say and using everything, okay? Most of the stuff I say, you're probably going to be able to do nothing with, and that's totally fine. But if I say one little nugget that inspires you, that gives you an idea, put that into action, because we as human beings, we only operate and take action in moments of inspiration. How many times do you go to sleep at night and you think, oh, I'm going to go run, I'm going to start that diet, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because you're in a moment of inspiration. But when you wake up in the morning, it doesn't happen because that inspiration is gone. You're back to neutral. Okay? So anything I say that sparks an idea, it gets you to want to do something, write it down and put it into motion. Okay? What's up, wonderful world? Welcome to the live stream. All right, so here we go with focus. You ready? Too many people, and I made this mistake big time in the beginning. Too many people come into the reselling game and they see somebody flipping shoes, making a lot of money. They're like, oh, I got to do shoes. I'm going to try shoes. So they go into some Ross, go into some Burlingtons, go into Nike. They're trying to flip some shoes. They try it a little bit. They dabble into it. And then they see somebody killing it with electronics on eBay. So they think, electronics, that's where it's at. I'm going to stop doing shoes. I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to start doing electronics. So you go to garage sales and yard sales and thrift stores and all the good stuff. You start picking out some electronics. You try to flip those. You got to test them. You got to clean them. A lot of extra work goes into electronics category. And then you come over here and you see somebody killing it with clothing. And you think, they're doing really well with clothing. That's where the money's at. I got to jump over here and do some clothing. Then you got to do the measurements. You got to check for stains. You got to do all this other stuff in the clothing category. And then you see somebody doing really well with toys or home or personal care. You jump to another one. Here's what happens when you do that. You might be able to have a little bit of success when you jump category to category or Amazon to eBay, back and forth type of stuff. You might see small success and small wins and make a little bit of money. But if you don't focus on one first and get really good at it, you're not going to be able to grow it. Let me say that again, because it's not hitting home for some of you. Some of you, this really needs to be a message you need to hear and start implementing. Stop with the shiny object syndrome, the squirrel thing, and really focus, okay? That right there, I don't even need to talk anymore. That right there can change some of your business. You need to really hone in on one, whether it's one category, one platform, one method of sourcing. Focus on one thing first, get really good at it, and then tag on a second thing and a third thing and all this kind of stuff. There's a reason I can now walk into a garage sale and I have the knowledge base and practice from several categories. I can sit here and cherry pick profitable items from several different categories walking into a garage sale or yard sale, thrift store, Walmart, etc. Because it took me doing one at a time and mastering one at a time to get really good at it. So that's my biggest tip for you guys is focus, okay? And that's in terms of a category, a product type. If we're talking about Amazon side, you have retail arbitrage, you have online arbitrage, you have wholesale, you have private label. Okay, those are like the four heavy hitters. If you're doing retail and online arbitrage, which I consider to be pretty much one and the same, Same style of sourcing for those two. So I consider those one. If you're doing RA and OA, and then you start to get kind of good at it, you're dabbling into it, you're making a few bucks, but then you start seeing these wholesale videos, you start seeing these wholesale posts, you think, ooh, wholesale's where it's at. I'm going to stop doing RA, OA, I'm going to go into wholesale. And you realize there's a learning curve. You got to make phone calls, you got to send out emails, you got to open up accounts, you got to do all these things. And then your sales drop, but you're so focused on trying to get this thing going that you stop doing the stuff that worked for you in the beginning. That's where you get stuck. Okay. And trust me, I'm speaking from experience here, guys. I'm not up here trying to like hoorah, shout at you and get you to do different stuff based on just me wanting to coach people. Okay. I'm talking from experience here because that's what happened to us. The second that we put a halt on certain things and then we tried new stuff, the old ones stopped working because we stopped putting effort into it. Sales came down and I didn't have the next plan ready to go yet. And all of a sudden we went, oh crap, we have no sales coming in and I don't have any product that I have my hands on. Okay. So there's all these learning experiences, but it all boils down to focus. It's the biggest thing, guys. Focus, focus, focus. So if you're going to do RA and OA, focus on RA and OA. Okay. I know wholesale is great. I know private label is great. But if you really want to scale and grow it, you've got to get really good at one type of thing first before you start tagging on others. Now, break that down even further. That's like types of products, types of categories, Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, all these different platforms. Choose one, focus on it, grow it, get good at it, and then move on. Next, going deeper than that is your day-to-day schedule, okay? This is a huge one, guys. You cannot wake up, especially if you have the family and the full-time job on top of all of this, you cannot just wake up and try to wing it for the day. You've got to put in intentional work. That it doesn't matter if it's a 30-minute time slot on your lunch break or at night, or if it's a full 2-hour block at night. You've got to focus on productive work. It's so easy to stand up and be busy for 5 or 6 hours, but how productive are you actually being? I am more productive in a 2-hour time slot if I actually follow a to-do list. You guys, look at this. I follow to-do lists every day. Every day I follow to-do lists because when I sit down and I put my list in front of me, which I use a whiteboard for most of it, if I put that whiteboard in front of me and I blast some good tunes, I'm not answering text messages. Facebook is not open on my computer. I am not browsing Instagram. I am focused. And this is why those of you that follow our social media content, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or here on YouTube, sometimes I don't post a lot. And that's not because I don't like posting. I don't like interacting with you guys. I love it. But some days my head is down, my blinders are on, and I am focused. And that's when I get my best work done. Versus 4, 5, 6 hour work day here at the office, I might just waste time all day doing busy crap that's not actually being productive. So that's my biggest tip for you guys is focus. Do we have any questions so far? Let me just browse through here. I want to make sure I get you all's comments. Oh, nice. We got a St. Helens in here. That's not too bad. I've driven up and destroyed your Walmart a time or two. Just an FYI. It's been a while, but like a year ago, I destroyed that. Yes, anytime that we travel, we are going to be hosting meetups. So if we do travel to San Diego, we'll do a San Diego meetup. We just held a Los Angeles meetup. What was it? Probably like 5 to 6 weeks ago. We're going to be doing a Seattle one next, and then I'm going to be doing another Las Vegas one coming up in September. I'll be down at a conference down there. Yes, I love this. Focus on watering one seed, and that one seed will bring into fruition others to grow. Okay. My favorite thing when it comes to focus, my favorite quote I heard one time is if anyone else reads books, you know who John C. Maxwell is, personal development speaker, coach, etc. I got the pleasure of listening to this guy on stage one time, and he said something that stuck with me for a long time. And I brought it up a time or two. I don't know how many people actually listen to these videos all the way through every time, but I've brought this up before, and it's, if you have an axe and you go into a forest and you take that axe and you hit 1,000 trees one time each, you're not getting anywhere, right? You take that axe, and instead of hitting each tree 1,000 times, you boil it down to like 3 trees, but you hit those suckers. What would that be? I chose really bad math. 333.33 times. Those bad boys are coming down. Okay, focus gets a lot more productive work done. I'm talking blinders on, laser focus, and that comes down to distractions. Some of you have distractions that are distractions. Okay, they're distractions. So if you have those distractions in your life, you gotta cut that out. Whether it's scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, even YouTube videos. If you're mindlessly watching YouTube videos and you're not doing anything with the information, like, just stop. Right? We love y'all for watching the videos. I don't want you guys watching this stuff if it's just kind of like on in the background and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, that's good information, but you're not doing anything with it. It's counterproductive. So if you've got distractions in your life, cut them out. So that's number 1, is focus. Did we all understand focus? It's a big one. It's the biggest thing. If everyone just started focusing more, your productivity would go way up. All right, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hammer through these last 2 so I get all 3 of my tips out of the way, because some people like to see the information. They don't care about Q&A, which is totally fine. So I'm going to push Q&A towards the end. Keep dropping your questions in the comments, though, and I will be scrolling back up and getting to those. And my computer just froze up. Yay. All right. Thanks, Cody. You like the lighting a little bit better? I got the ring light or circle light, whatever it's called, ring light. Yes, running TA while you watch does count. That's called getting really good at multitasking. All right, I already mentioned number 2. When you learn to focus on one thing, here's what happens. You get really good at it and you start to master it. Okay, that's tip number 2, master it. So if you're doing retail arbitrage, don't try it for like a month, decide it doesn't work, and then try something else. Like, you've got to give it time. If you want to build an actual business here, you got to give this stuff time. The amount of people that try to start a business and they quit within 6 months is ridiculous. And I get it. It's not everyone is cut out for this stuff. It is so much more mentally exhausting than anyone knows until you do it yourself. Okay? So you've got to stay on top of whatever you're doing, focus on it, grow it, and master it. Okay? The reason why you want to master something, or you don't have to become this expert in it, but you have to get to the point where you know how to do it. You can teach somebody how to do it. And that brings me to number 3, which is outsource. Okay? Focus, master it, and outsource it. That is how you build businesses to scale. And I'm not talking about outsourcing every single thing, right? You need to eventually, when you get really, really good at something, you need to ask yourself, what is affecting my bottom line the most? So let's use retail arbitrage, because that's been my wheelhouse for a couple of years now. That's the one I know best. With retail arbitrage, I did not even think about outsourcing any part of that until I was comfortable enough that I can walk into any store, and for the most part, you have bad days and bad sourcing trips, but for the most part, I can walk into any store and generally find stuff that I can sell for a profit. Okay, but it took me a couple years of practicing to get going that route. So when I started really focusing on it and I got really good at it, that's when I don't consider myself an expert, but I've gotten really good at it. When I got really good at it, I was able to hire a few people and start outsourcing. Here's how I did my outsourcing in the beginning. And that's what I recommend for you guys too. You as a reseller, and again, this isn't just Amazon, this is eBay as well. You as a reseller make your most amount of money when you are buying product. Can we all agree on that? Type yes or no. If you're typing no, probably going to be in the wrong business model. I'm sorry. but your money is going to be best made when you're buying stuff. Okay. I don't care if you are the world's best taper. Man, someone hands you a tape gun in a box and you can tape the hell out of it. I don't care how great you are at putting tape on a box or labels on a product. That all means nothing if you don't have product to put in the box. Okay. Your time is best spent, and what affects your bottom line the most is buying product. So if you find that you are stuck in a position where you are buying product, but you're spending more time actually getting in and prepping and shipping your product, that's a transition in your life. Okay, that's a transition in your life that needs to happen. That transition is hire somebody with the prep. Okay, I don't care if it's a prep center, I don't care if it's a physical employee that you pay $10 an hour, whatever. That's up to you to decide what you want to do, but you need to outsource some of the prep and some of the shipping. Okay, I'm not saying you need to bring somebody on full time right out of the gate. It's not a instant light switch moment that needs to happen. Do what I did. Bring somebody in once a week for like 2 hours and have them teach them how to prep and ship an Amazon FBA shipment. So then this was my schedule. I'll show you guys what I did in the beginning. Monday through Thursday, I would go out and source. Okay. So I was doing both retail and online arbitrage. So I had products coming in that were shipped. And then I was also going out every day for a few hours and getting product. Then every Friday, I had somebody come in for 2 or 3 hours and I trained her hands-on. We did shipments together until she was comfortable enough to do it by herself. Then on Fridays, when she was comfortable enough to do it by herself, while she was here at the office, this was actually when we started in our garage. So we didn't even have the office yet. So in the garage, she would be prepping and shipping my stuff while I was driving out getting more. So I was being able to make more money by taking my time out of the prepping and the shipping and buying more stuff. Okay. I think the biggest mistake you can make mentally, and this is the one I made mentally, when you first hire somebody, don't look at it as an expense in the sense of you're losing that money. Because I think that was the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around, especially when you start doing this as like a side hobby. Do we have any people that started this as a hobby, but it turned into a little bit more than what you thought it would be? That's where we were. I had no idea we would be making like actual money doing this stuff. It's crazy. So when I first made this transition into hiring somebody, in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay somebody $12 an hour because I could do it myself. Like, while that's true, by me doing it myself, I was missing money because it was sitting on the shelves and I was over here putting tape on boxes. Like, that's not what I should be doing. So stop looking at hiring people, whether it's a virtual assistant for other stuff in your business or if it's somebody that's physically prepping. You can't look at it as an expense that's just leaving your pocket and never coming back. You're buying your time back that allows you to go out and source more, which is what you should be doing as a reseller. So that's it. Those are like my top 3 things I can give for you. Like I said, they're nothing that you haven't heard before, but I think the biggest missing link is there's a lot of people that listen to this stuff. You listen to these types of videos, you hear these tips on and on again, but you're not actually implementing them. So again, if I said anything, one little thing that's going to spark something, an idea, if you nodded your head one time and thought, wow, he's right, I really should hire somebody 1 day a week for 2 hours to come and prep some stuff. If you thought that, write it down and put it into action while you're inspired, because we as humans only act during moments of inspiration. Okay? That's just how we default. We don't like doing stuff when we don't feel like doing stuff. When we're inspired to do something, there's no hesitation. We do it. Okay? So if I said anything at all, one little nugget that got you to start getting your wheels turning and thinking, got some ideas, write that stuff down and put it into action. Okay? I don't care if you need to put up an ad on Craigslist tonight. I don't care if you know a personal friend or family member you want to hire, somebody, but put that stuff into action. Okay? Focus. So if you're in a position where you know you're scattered all over the place, you're trying to flip shoes and then you're trying to flip Funko Pops and you're trying to flip toys and you're trying to do electronic. Like if you're all over the place and constantly scattered and your sales are scattered, then you need to really just put those blinders on, focus on one thing, choose a type of product, a category, choose Amazon, Poshmark, eBay, etc. Choose one thing at a time and really just focus on it, because it does make a world of difference. When you focus on something, you can start to master it and you get really good at it. When you get really good at something, you teach somebody else how to do that. And then they take your place in that role in your business so that you can go and buy more stuff. I'm promising you, if you pair these three things together, game over. So now we'll do a little open Q&A session. If you guys can you just do me a huge favor right now? If you guys got any value out of this, thumbs up this video, drop a comment below. Let me know what did you take out of this? What idea are you going to start implementing right away? Comment below and let me know. Don't just sit here and watch the video and be like, oh yeah, that was a good idea. Like, comment below, because when you physically type something out or you write it down, it puts it out into the universe, right? And what you put out there comes back in one way or another. So comment below, let me know what you took out of this and what you're actually going to start implementing. But it does help the channel. It helps these videos. It gets in front of more people, helps with our searchability, all that fun stuff if you hit that like button. So we do appreciate it so much, guys. But with that all being said, thank you so much if you were tuning in for the educational part. Video is now over. Moving on to the Q&A session. What's up, guys? Drop a comment below. Let me know your questions. I will be here for 17 minutes-ish. We'll see how much fun I'm having. Might go a little over. All right, let me scroll back up. I'm not going to be able to get to all the questions. Just an FYI, there's a lot of people on here right now. So if you are watching, thank you so much for your time. But I'll get to as many as I possibly can. And I'm actually going to, I never do this, but I do need water. I'm going to jolt off of here real quick and I will be back. Okay, told you it'd be quick. Sorry, I'm dying though. It's been hot today and I have not drank enough water. All right, Q&A. All right, let me scroll through, make sure I find all the questions. How's our wholesale doing? Our wholesale is slow moving right now. We basically bought 1,000 units. There's several different listings. There's a single pack, a 3-pack, a 6-pack, and a 12-pack. So we sent in small batches to each one, and we're messing around with the keywords and all that kind of stuff. We're going to see which one starts to move quicker, and then we're going to send the bulk load in. So it's slow, but it's going to get there. It's going to be worth it. Okay. What would you say is a good size box to send into Amazon profit-wise? Not sure what's too little. Thanks. I mean, it's kind of a broad question, to be honest. I can't really answer that for you. For me personally, for me to sit down and do a shipment, if I'm looking at a single box, like, it's not so much about the box, it's what's in it, what was the total buy cost versus the profit. So for example, I don't have a dollar amount minimum for a box, but I have an ROI minimum. So like for me, I like to low end, I'll accept 20% if it's a quick flip. But personally, I like closer like 40 to 50% ROI. So I don't have a minimum per box. What's up, Brandon? I just got invited and approved for the hazmat program. You lucky dog. Do you guys do hazmat? I'm wondering if it's worth my time investment to learn the competitive advantage or do what's been working for me. Honestly, man, if what you've been doing is working, then keep doing it. Never take off. You guys, that kind of goes back to focus. Never take your foot off the gas pedal of something that's working to do something new that you don't know will work for you. Because what happens is if you take your foot off the gas pedal of what's working and start to apply it on something you don't know if it's going to work and it doesn't work, you don't have your regular sales volume coming over here because you took your foot off the gas. So I personally, if what you're doing is working for you, then keep doing what you're doing and try to scale that and do more of it and just follow those steps I just laid out for you. When you get to a point where you can start to outsource and keep that part of your business growing, then venture into new stuff. With that being said, we have not messed around with hazmat stuff. And there is potential in it just because obviously most FBA sellers, they have those hazmat restrictions on. So you definitely have a competitive advantage on those products. I mean, they're worth at least checking into. Can I use TA on a tablet or do I need a laptop or computer? TA is actually a web-based software. So it's not a physical program like you need on a computer. So you can run it actually from your phone, your tablet, anything with an internet connection. It just runs on the web, which is super nice. So if you didn't know that, you can actually start running a TA scan, and that's tactical arbitrage for anyone wondering. You can run a TA scan on your computer and just close your computer and walk away, and it's still scanning because it's based on the interwebs and the clouds and stuff. I need help or tips on how to be a little more efficient on selling more on Amazon FBA. Junior, if you could be a little more specific with your question, what type of efficiency are you looking for? And also, what type of sourcing are you doing? We started out doing retail arbitrage, then upgraded to online arbitrage. Now we're trying to transition into wholesale and dabble in that a little bit. But again, we went through the steps of we're not experts, but we got really good at retail and online arbitrage. So those are still going. Not so much the retail. I actually missed the retail arbitrage a little bit. I might go out and do some sourcing. I think I'll go out Thursday and do a little sourcing, just a little bit. But I don't miss the driving. That's the hard part with retail arbitrage, is the driving. I want to switch to a prep center as I'm going to move to Thailand. Can they hold and consolidate numerous orders from different vendors for one shipment to Amazon? Yes, they can. We actually have right next door on the other side of this wall behind you guys is a First Choice Pack, and that's the prep center that we've been helping launch. So if you want information on them, you can shoot me an email, chaz@sidehustlepros.com, and get you hooked up with their information. All right, I'm just scrolling through, make sure I don't miss any questions. Chaz, do you cross post from Amazon to eBay? And if so, are you using any softwares to manage it? I don't do a lot of the cross posting stuff. I did in the beginning, but not so much anymore. I was using Joe Lister. It did get a little bit tweaky as far as the software goes. It just, certain things just weren't matching up and whatnot. I personally haven't messed around with the cross listing too much though. If I have slow moving inventory on Amazon, I will cross list it onto eBay though. And you could do multi-channel fulfillment that way. Is OA the biggest part of your sourcing? Trying to think what the split was. When we were doing heavy RA OA, it was probably it was a little more RA. So I'm going to say like probably 60-40 RA OA is what our split was. Currently right now, I actually haven't been sourcing for like the last 6 weeks because I conserved our capital to put into wholesale. Now that the wholesale order is here and we send stuff in for the testing order, and I know we have cash flow coming back in now, so I'm going to start to do some RA again, just to at least keep the sales going. Do you think it's good to list different items in one eBay account, like clothing, toys, collectible, in one eBay account? Oh, I got you. Different types of items under one eBay store. Totally fine. That's what we do. We only have one eBay store, and we have primarily clothing, but and that's from my wife Trista. I do electronics and toys and anything else, odds and ends stuff I can find. Yeah, you can totally do that. If you grow to like this huge business, that's when people start to separate out like an electronics only eBay store, and then they'll have a toys or a clothing. So it just depends on what you want to do. I personally, we don't want to mess around with like the headache of multiple stores. So just the one works for us. Or if you get into anything that's collectibles, if you get into shoes, like those are types of products that one type of customer base is really after. If you have a large volume of that stuff, then that's when it's a good time to open up one store. How do I stay so positive when you get down on sourcing, high prices, etc.? It's just part of the game. It's super discouraging when you first start, and it took me a long time mentally to get over it. But you know, it's part of the business. You have crappy days, you have good days. We had anyone who was on the geez, what was that? Oh, the haul video we did. Trista and I just did a haul video. We talked about this last week. We had a horrible sourcing trip. We drove an hour out of town for yard sales, and usually we do really well. And we found crap. Like, we drove up to these sales, and I would walk up and I'd be so excited to buy stuff, and I would walk out so depressed because I didn't find a single thing. Time and time and time again. We went to about 15 different sales. I think I came out with maybe $30 profit, which we then spent on lunch before we went home. So it was a horrible sourcing day, and I was super discouraged, but it's part of the business. It's just part of the business. I don't have any secret tips on how to stay positive about it. It's just you got to mentally build the toughness you need to deal with those days. You're going to have times when you can't source anything. It's not there. You're going to have times where you don't have capital to buy certain things you want. You're going to have times with virtual assistants that bad stuff happens, or they quit on you, or you have to fire somebody. That's part of any business. So I learned just to roll with the punches now. That's all there is to it. Sure, my phone is down. There we go. Question: I found a fairly new reseller on YouTube and sent him a link to my eBay to get some guidance and feedback, but I hadn't heard anything. Is this politically wrong in the reseller world? I don't believe so. Yeah, I know plenty of people do store reviews and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so don't hesitate to reach out to people for that if you need it. Am I a firm believer in reinvesting what you earn back into the business? Yes, because we did it all wrong in the beginning. So in the beginning, I was already self-employed, but I wasn't making a lot of money, right? I was doing personal training and massage therapy, so I had to get my own clients. Loved the businesses, loved helping people with that stuff, but it was client-based, which means if I didn't have bodies to physically work out or bodies on the table to massage, I had no income. But we had Trista's job to rely on. She was in the medical field as a medical assistant, worked for a wound care facility. So if I had crappy weeks, it was kind of okay because we had her paycheck to fall back onto. But when she quit her job to come do Amazon and eBay, well, eBay came in later, but when we did Amazon eBay by ourselves, and all of a sudden we didn't have the safety blanket, we didn't have the security blanket anymore. That became tough because we learned real quick, if you make sales during the month, and let's say you do like $4,000 in sales, $2,500 of that comes back to you after fees and shipping and all that kind of stuff. And then after your cost, you make like, let's say $1,300, $1,400. Well, if we have bills coming up and we have to take money out of that $1,300 or $1,400 to pay our bills, we don't have much left to reinvest. Therefore, we're not going to grow. And that was a thing we struggled with for a long time. So that's why I'm pretty passionate about talking about that subject now. So I tell people now, if we can go back, man, if you've got a job, if you've got secondary income, if you've got any extra income, keep it for as long as you can. Build up an emergency fund, right? Build up your savings account just to be smart. And then two, make sure you have enough cash flow from your business to cover your business, new product, still grow, and then you can start to take some out for yourself. So for us, we've been on this huge debt freedom kick. So we've been paying off debt like crazy the last probably like 12, 13, 14 months. We've just been taking out as much as we can and just hammering away at debt was our big goal. So on a personal level, we're crushing some personal goals, but that affected our business because we were taking way too much out. So I'm pretty stern on letting people know. Hold on, we gotta block one of these haters here. All right, there we go. I need to get some extra admins in here. So yeah, that's why I tell people you've got to reinvest as much as you can, because it was a big mistake we made in the beginning, and because of that mistake of taking too much out month after month to pay our bills, to pay down debt, etc., we had a really slow growth curve. So that's where I would definitely just recommend, like, if you've got a job, a secondary, even a third, fourth income, like, keep that stuff as long as you can until you know for sure you have a lot of extra cash flow coming in. What are my thoughts on the new sales tax law that just passed by Supreme Court? Do you think it will affect us? I have no opinion on it yet, and I don't really think many people do, because we don't know how it's going to play out yet. It's just, it sucks, but it's one of those things we just have to wait and see how it's going to affect us. That's how it is with a lot of things. Like, even when Amazon comes out with new policies, eBay changes something, like, no one really knows yet when they change stuff. We just have to wait and see kind of where it goes. My computer keeps freezing. Victor says, hey guys, I just printed my first box shipping label as I am watching, and I have a quick question. My label weights are off. One label reads 6 pounds and the other reads 5.1. Is this normal? Yes, because your label, or I'm sorry, you may have input 5.1, but it's going to round up. It's actually based on dimensional weight, not just the physical pounds. So you're totally fine. Yeah, 5.1 to 6 pounds is not gonna charge you extra. You're not gonna get hit with like a $10 charge or anything. Yeah, so just go to YouTube or Google and just look up dimensional weight, and you're gonna see how they calculate that stuff. How best to find ship prep in my area, or does it matter? Do you mean like a shipping / prep company, Jeff? If you can clarify that. Oh no, did I miss your question? Oh no, I got it. YouTube is not the greatest layout for chat, because by the time I read questions, you guys are like all the way down here. So I have to play catch up game on this sometimes. I'm doing my best for y'all. How do you figure shipping for an item? I add shipping to the price and sell as free shipping. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do, because we offer free shipping across the board. We go by weight. Obviously, if it's going to be under a pound, then you can go first class. So like, Funko Pops and little stuff like that doesn't weigh much. Most of Trista's clothing items are all first class because they're lightweight. So whether you want to polybag them, or if you like my Funkos, I have Funko size boxes I put those in, and that's still first class. If it's going to be larger than that, then you can look at flat rate padded envelope is probably our second thing that we use the most. I'm looking at my boxes right here. I think next up from there, like shoes would probably be the next up, and that one we just do regular priority mail through USPS, and we have the shoe box from USPS you can get for free on their website. That's usually not much. I can ship a pair of regular size, like 10 to 12 shoes, for probably between $9 and $13, just depending where it's going. So we kind of price based in there. I'd say our average shipping price is probably, I'd probably say like $7 to $8 on the high end. So every now and then I'll have something bigger, like electronics are obviously a little bit bigger. Those ones I go FedEx Smart Post, just based on our area in Oregon. That seems to be the cheapest. So I usually do that. What do you use to track everything in your business for tracking money and for taxes? Anything tax related, it goes to my CPA. I have no idea how it all happens. He just tells me how much I owe or how much I get at the end of the year. But to give him stuff, Excel for eBay, and we use Inventory Lab for Amazon. That tracks your buy cost, your profit, all that good stuff. Have I ever had any hazmat issues? I'm trying to switch my inventory to FBA, but I keep getting hazmat review. My product doesn't have any batteries or any kind of dangerous materials. Yeah, and that I just got an email today actually that one of my products went hazmat. It, Amazon makes no sense sometimes. What was it that I saw them put hazmat on? They put something dumb on hazmat like a couple months ago, and it made no sense at all. So I don't know how they work their stuff, why they do it. It's just one of those things that's part of the business. You got to roll with it. If they require documentation, sometimes you can go to the distributor level or the manufacturer and get that documentation for them. But for the most part, if you're doing traditional RAOA, it's just one of those things you kind of got to deal with. What kind of sourcing opportunities would you recommend for someone that lives in a very rural area? I can relate with that because we live not in a super small town, but we have about 30,000 people in our town. We have one very small Walmart, not one of those big super Walmarts, like a tiny one. And our closest Target is about 40 to 45 minutes away. And well, now Toys R Us. So sad. But Toys R Us is no longer with us. And well, as of tomorrow, I believe. But point being, I have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to any retail arbitrage stuff. So would I recommend sourcing retail arbitrage? Yes, if you don't mind the driving, it's part of the grind, it's part of the hustle you got to do. With your being in a smaller town, then online arbitrage is going to be your next best option. From there, wholesale is going to be another great option for you as well. How do we track eBay inventory? That we just use an Excel sheet. Super basic, super easy. I have not. Somebody asked if I posted any updates on the Ross shoe selling spree. I have not, and I need to go back through our eBay store. There's a couple pair that have not sold, and I think it's like I want to say 3 or 4 pair have not sold, and the rest have. Some of them we did have to do a little bit above break even. Other ones we made 20, 30 bucks on. So we ended up making, what was the total? Anyone remember what the total buy cost on that video was? I have no idea. I think it was it was like 520 or something like that. We probably turned 500 into at least like 750, maybe 800, something like that. I'll do an update on it. I need to go back through and hammer through all the listings that we did. Do we ever do auctions? Yes, we'll do auctions on slow moving inventory. Do I have a course on how to do all this? I do not have a course. I don't have a book. I just love to do YouTube. If there is one, so we have 2 things that we offer as services. One, we have our VIP group, $20 a month. It's a private Facebook group. This is where you get a lot more of these style of videos inside of just the Facebook group. We have it capped at 250 members. We do currently have openings. So if you are interested in that, you go to sidehustleprosvip.com and get plugged in. Service number 2 that we offer, we actually just earlier today launched the second wave of this, but we do offer a service that helps you with the tactical arbitrage side. And what this is called, it's called an OA daily list. And the problem is a lot of people come in and they get tactical arbitrage or try online arbitrage, and there's a learning curve, right? Some people just don't want to go through the learning curve. Some people don't want to take the time. So to help with the convenience factor of time, we have a team that we've been fully training for over 2 years that goes in there and they source all the stuff for you. And then we provide you up to 50 of those leads per week. That one does run at $125 a month. So if you want to get plugged into that, just email me, chaz@sidehustlepros.com, and just mention the daily OA list. I can get you plugged in that. I will say I haven't checked my email, but earlier at launch, we only had 30 spots. We're probably down to about 10 spots, but that is something that's time sensitive. So if you want to get in on that, let me know. Those are the only 2 paid things that we offer. I don't have a course. I don't have a book. All the informational stuff, I throw up everything that I know here on YouTube. It's not packaged in a nice like course looking thing, but I can promise you most of the stuff I know is going to be right here on the channel for free. But if you do want that next step up, the VIP group or the daily OA list are the 2 things that we do offer. Am I going to ASD? Oh, my computer just like, there we go. Sorry guys, my computer is so glitchy today. This is not even funny. Are we going to ASD? We are not going to ASD. We were just in ASD back in March. So I usually hit the March one. I don't go to the summertime one. But it is a good time. I will be actually not ASD, but I'll be down in Vegas in September. I actually think it's going to be right after ASD. Should I be getting ready for fourth quarter? Yes. You get ready for fourth quarter the day after fourth quarter is done. Like the more capital you have to pour into fourth quarter, like you start soon. Because the second, especially if you're doing a wholesale, there's a big lead time on some of these accounts. So you need to work with whoever your rep is and start asking them about those deadlines. That fly, was anyone on our live yesterday when that fly was like buzzing around? I'm gonna punch that thing in the face. Yeah, so get ready for Q4 as soon as you can. It's always a good thing. Also depends on your method. If you're doing private label, obviously you've got a way bigger lead time on your stuff. Wholesale, it's still going to be a lead time, not as much as private label. And then RAOA, we start really hitting stuff for stocking up, usually towards August, like towards the end of summer. We really start to get laser focused on that. Fourth quarter in reselling world it's amazing. It's the best time of year. So it's all based around the holiday season. Retail sales in general just skyrocket. And I know people that make more money in those 3 months, those last 3 months of the year, than they do the entire year. Some people I've heard, there was one guy on a stage that only does Halloween. He only does Halloween. And he literally he doesn't care about sales throughout the entire year. It's the month before October through the end of October. He makes his entire year's worth of money in that like 6-week time frame. So he has he said he starts ordering his stuff in January. That's his lead time. So there's all kinds of different makes and models and different ways to run your business when it comes to Q4. All right, let me scroll back up, make sure I didn't miss anything. Having a hard time sourcing items with more than 20% ROI. If they move fast, would you consider it acceptable? Yes, I would. That's just me personally. I'll take as low as 20%. If it's fast moving, that's spending $10 to make $2 if I can get a hold of quantity. I'm not just going to sell one-offs for a $2 profit unless it's a super slow mover that's just been in my inventory and I want to get rid of it. Then I'll drop the price down. But I'll take a lower ROI based on the quantity and based on the velocity. Obviously, the faster something is selling, the lower ROI that I'll take, because you can make it up for volume versus your actual profit. And that's just us personally. That's not me saying, well, Chaz said I have to do low ROI. That's not it at all. That's just based on us personally. I know people that sell stuff and they have an average sale price of $100 and they want to make like a $50 profit minimum, and they sell one-offs and their long tail items and they do great. And I also know people that do great that make $1.50 or $2 an item, but they're selling thousands of them. Everyone's got different preference. So you just, my advice is go wide, test each method out, see what you like best, see what works for you, and then go deeper on that method. What are my thoughts on using a credit card when first starting out for inventory growth? That is what we did, but I do not recommend people using credit cards unless you know you can pay them off at the end of each month. Do not get into a position where you're using credit cards and maxing them out and then you never pay them off, because that is just going to tank your credit. All kinds of bad stuff happens. If you know you're not responsible with credit cards, don't tempt yourself. Just because they're business purchases, your credit score doesn't care if they're business purchases. That's why your cards are maxed out, okay? Your credit score only cares if your cards are maxed out. So if you're going to use credit cards, make sure you got cash flow coming in, make sure you pay them off. But they can be an amazing tool if you're doing them the right way. That's just my personal take on it. I know some people are like, well, Chaz, I don't like credit cards. I don't believe in them. That's cool. Do what works for you. That's all I got to say. Everything I say on this channel is simply because it works for me. That's it. Wow, my computer is seriously tweaking right now. Sorry, guys. My screen just went blank. Not a good thing. All right, I got you back up. Oh, man. Oh, that's awesome, Victor. Congrats. You say just labeled his first FBA shipment while watching. That's amazing. When is fourth quarter? Fourth quarter typically starts right after Black Friday. Well, I guess Black Friday is like the marker of fourth quarter. Black Friday, you typically will see, depending if you have inventory in stock, but you'll see a boost in sales, and that's kind of when it starts. Yeah, my computer, I swear, guys. Not being very user-friendly today. Yeah, Ed brought up a good point. The rewards are super, but you have to pay them off monthly. That's another thing, too, in this ballgame of reselling. So easy to hit rewards points. You got these credit cards that will offer, like, I saw one the other day. I think it was the Chase Sapphire. They're like 50,000 point bonus if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. Like, that's kind of easy in our business. So, I mean, I know people that they're going to fly and stay in hotels for free for the rest of their lives because they know how to maximize the points on the credit cards. It's amazing. But don't do them. Don't use credit cards unless you have cash flow to pay them off. When you RA at Ross, do you pay sales tax? So I actually live in Oregon, so we don't have sales tax, which is amazing. Better part about that story, if I drive up north across the border to Washington, if I show them my Oregon license, I get tax exempt from there. So we don't even have like a reseller's, certificate. But if I use my license in Washington, it doesn't work in Cali. I wish it did. Really wish it worked in Cali. But if I drive up over the border to Washington, then I get sales tax free there. If I am using 5x8 resealable bags and putting a product in that bag and sending it to FBA, do I need a child suffocation label on that 5x8 bag? It's not a poly bag, just a resealable bag. It depends if the product requires poly bagging. If it requires a poly bag, and it will tell you during your listing process, then yes, you do need a suffocation label on that. Oh, nice. Elliot says he hasn't bought a hotel or flight in a while. That's the way to do it. How long before you just cut the price on a listing and try to break even? It depends on the profit potential. Like if I have a product that can potentially profit, like I just sent in this this Sony Walkman video. Like this thing was ridiculous. It was a Sony Walkman, but it had a video attachment. And I don't think they made many of them. I paid $200. The resale value is about $450. So I'm looking at $250 profit. So I'm going to let that thing sit. That's one of those long tail items. It's just a sweet profit. So I don't mind sitting on that. But if it's a regular generic retail or online arbitrage product and I just want to get rid of them, if they don't move in 45, 60 days on the Amazon side, that's when I start messing around with the pricing structure. I do use a repricer, so I have it set to different strategies based on what I want, but I will drop it down to 20% ROI if I need to. After about 45, 60 days, I start to look at that stuff. People in Washington, they do look pissed off when you do that. I had a Walmart employee a couple weeks back. I went up there and I did a little sourcing in Walmart, and it was a $300 purchase. So it wasn't huge, but it was a $300 purchase. And when he went to ring me up, I think they're required to ask, but sometimes they don't like to. And you can tell this guy's like, "Are you a Washington resident?" I said, "No, I'm from Oregon." I handed my license, and you could tell he didn't like me. He didn't like me after that. I am definitely okay with it as well. How often do you create a listing for Amazon? I have one. I'm having trouble getting traffic. I don't create any listings right now because we have been doing retail and online arbitrage. I just use current listings, but getting into wholesale, I'm going to have to get into using tools and tactics to build my own listings and get traffic that way as well. But keywords and PPC are going to be two of your big ones. Justin Pac-Man, thank you, my friend. Hit that like button. Are you guys enjoying the show? Just pretty much hanging out Q&A session now. Great information. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and knowledge with us. Love your channel. Without it, I would be like this. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in. You guys, seriously, we appreciate your guys' support on this channel, these videos, our Facebook groups. I can't even, like, we have no words for it. Like, just thank you for being here, because I know that you guys could be spending your time doing other things. You could be spending your time watching other YouTube channels, scrolling through Instagram. Like, you could be doing so many other things, but you guys choose to be here and watch this stuff. So seriously, just thank you for being here. You guys are the reason we're up here. I would not get up here and spend my time doing these types of videos if you guys weren't here to interact and engage with. Because I can tell you, content, as a content creator, and I can probably speak for all the content creators here on YouTube and Instagram, like, without our tribe, our community, like, we're nothing. So seriously, just thank you guys for interacting. There you go, Aaron. It says 114, but only 60 likes. Smash that like button. Yeah, and if you guys do want to support the channel, we never ask for financial, like, super chats or anything like that. I really don't care about the financial part. More so, it's just getting the message in front of people. So the more you hit the like button on the videos, the more you comment and engage, the more it gets out. That's how you can really support us the best. So we do thank you for it. But with that being said, we are at our time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Seriously, cannot thank you enough for taking your time. Time is the most precious thing that we have in this life, and you guys chose to spend your last hour plus here on this video. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I would love to know, based on the 3 tips I gave you, did any of those spark an idea or a moment of inspiration? What are you going to do with that information to move your business forward and grow it? Comment below, let me know, hit that like button, subscribe if you are not. It's been Chaz. Peace out. Love y'all. I'll see you soon.